Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Lee County's Zoning Board of Appeals Thursday, May 1st, 2025 meeting. First order of business is roll call.
Bruce Forrester,
Here.
Craig Burrow,
Here.
Luke Phelan,
Here.
Tim Crawford.
Here.
Okay. First petition for tonight, new business, was petition number 25-P-1641. Clay's not here at the moment. Clay is not here at the moment. He's at a track meet. So we will go on to the next portion of the meeting. And therefore, we now convene the public hearing as to Pivot Energy Illinois 258 LLC, Pivot Energy Illinois 259 LLC, and Pivot Energy Illinois 260 LLC, petitions 25-P-1642, 25-P-1643, and 25-P-1644 for special uses to site commercial solar energy system proposed to lay within Nelson Township here in Lee County. First, however, under our rules, this body is permitted to engage the services of an independently contracted facilitator to conduct these proceedings. I will now entertain a motion to engage retired Judge Tim Slavin as the facilitator for the evidentiary argument and fact-finding phases of this hearing. Do I hear a motion?
I so moved. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries, and I will now turn the hearing over to that facilitator, Judge Slavin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Lee County ZBA. Welcome and good evening, everyone. It's great to see all my Lee County friends once again. You board members, I'm starting to feel like we live together, if you know what I mean. I hope everyone is healthy and remaining safe. My name is indeed Tim Slavin, and I'm a retired circuit judge engaged as an independent contractor to what is called facilitate this hearing. I have no adjudicatory responsibilities. I am not for or against any particular position. I'm a neutral. I am here, hopefully, to add some process, organization, efficiency, and flow to the proceedings at hand. As Mr. Forrester said, Chairman Forrester said, this indeed is Pivot Energy Illinois IL 258, 259, 260 LLC's petitions number 25-P-1642, 1643, and 1644 for special use permits to develop a proposed commercial solar energy system in Nelson Township. If for whatever reason one chooses not to be personally present in the courtroom, through the good offices of Lee County IT Department, you can attend virtually tonight and through the evenings that follow from your home, your business, or other remote location on the Zoom video conferencing platform. Or while not being able to participate, one can watch and listen on YouTube. The Zoom meeting ID is tonight and always will be throughout 915-3923-9154. And the password is 209840. The Zoom platform allows an interested party to actually participate. It is interactive. One may not only see and hear what is taking place, but when the appropriate stage comes, one may ask a witness questions, call one's own witnesses, testify oneself, or give a closing comment or public comment. Further, in an attempt to try to be as transparent and inclusive as possible, we're also streaming this proceeding on YouTube. However, YouTube is not an interactive platform. On it, one can only watch and hear what is being done and said during the hearing, but not participate in it. As to YouTube, on your computer or cell phone, use your browser, go to www.youtube.com. In the search bar that you should see, type Lee County IL, short for Illinois, Zoning Board of Appeals. There's no need to be concerned about upper or lowercase letters. This should bring up a list of the Lee County ZBA YouTubes. Select the date, presumably you want tonight, May 1st, and voila, you should be seeing us here in the hearing room. At this point, I usually launch into the substance of the process, but because of the press of the ZBA's regular meeting business, that's about as far as we're going to go tonight, other than a little scheduling. I will explain the process more thoroughly when we next gather for these petitions. Which brings up, when is next? I have some proposed dates when the courtroom's available, when we think some of the key necessaries are available. The next date I have is May 21st. I know the courtroom is available. How about you, Chairman Forster?
I'm fine.
Mr. Burrow?
What day of the week's that, sir?
Wednesday.
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Ms. Henkel, I assume you are.
Yes.
Ms. Sasser, how about the State Attorney's Office? Can someone join us that day?
Yes, we can make ourselves available.
Merrill Reed was going to be here to speak for the petitioners. Is Ms. Reed here? Oh, she is here. Is that date acceptable to your entourage? Our able court reporter, is that okay? Jonathan, is that okay with IT? And I know it's okay with me. One more day. Thursday, June 12th. I know the courtroom's available. How about you, Mr. Forster?
Yes.
Mr. Burrow?
June 12th?
June 12th, it's
Yes.
Thursday.
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Ms. Henkel?
Yes.
Ms. Sasser, somebody from the State Attorney's Office can join us that day?
Yes.
Ms. Reed? How about you, Ms. Reporter? Jonathan? And myself. Okay, that's just an available date. I'm not necessarily making it setting, but that's an available date. The date certain next is May 21st. That's a Wednesday, about 3 weeks from now, approximately. We'll begin at, gentlemen, did 6:30 work okay for everyone?
Yeah.
Does anybody object? I thought that worked okay. All right, 6:30, May 21st, here in the courtroom on the third floor of the old Lee County Courthouse. That's the notice everyone should get. And unless there's anything else, Ms. Hinkle?
No, if anyone here from the public is present for that hearing, the substance of that hearing will take place later, starting on May 21st. These hearings typically take 2 or 3 evenings. So tonight, we're going to recess and we will carry on when we have the full 2.5 hours to address the petitions.
And you don't have other cases to handle. So, all right, I recess those 3 petitions of Pivot Energy Illinois until May 21st, 6:30 p.m. here in the old Lee County Courthouse, third floor courtroom. Hey, have a good 3 weeks, everybody. Thanks. Turn it back to you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. See you.
He should have to stay. He should have to stay. Is this a freebie?
So-
Freebie.
The next matter of new business is Mr. Partington still isn't here. No. Is petition number 25-P-1645 by the Compton Community Fire Protection District as owners of certain real property identified as PIN number 05-17-11- 300-007 and commonly known as 748 Illinois Route 251 Compton in Brooklyn Township filed a petition for a variance with the Lee County Zoning Office seeking a variance from Title 10, Chapter 9, Section 3, bulk regulations of the Lee County Code, more specifically side and rear yard setbacks from the northern property line due to the lot being irregular in shape with the intentions of building a new fire department. The parcel is currently zoned Ag 1 Agricultural District and is approximately 2.56 acres in size.
Good evening.
Come forward and be sworn in.
He is an attorney, so he would.
What's that?
I don't mind doing it.
Okay. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give should be the truth?
I do.
Then I need you to sign your name, print your name, and most importantly, state your name.
My name is Colin Berry, and I'm an attorney for the Compton Community Fire Protection District. We also have two of our board members here with us. And I wanted to start by handing out a few diagrams of the property. Thank you. So the issue that we are having is the Compton Community Fire Protection District owns both of the parcels of land indicated on that diagram. There is a triangle-shaped main parcel and what was a former railroad, I believe, track that is just to the north of it. We had attempted to combine those parcels into one before we went ahead with building our project, but unfortunately they lie in two separate taxing districts. In that the parcel to the north is a part of the Compton Village and the parcel to the south is not. So we wouldn't be able to combine the parcels. We are asking for a variance to use the parcel to the north as essentially our setback siding.
Which is what?
Right up here.
So
Parcel 2 is this strip up.
Jonathan has also pulled it up on the GIS map.
What's that?
Jonathan has also pulled it up on the GIS map.
All right.
And how much is the setback you need?
The setback requirement is 50 feet. We're asking to place it pretty much directly on the property line of parcel number 1 and use parcel number 2 as the setback.
Okay. So is this the intended building?
That is the intended building.
Okay.
and how many square foot is the building itself? Is it down?
Can I go and grab my full plan?
Sure.
Let's see here. Henry, you're what? 70 by 120. Thank you, Wes.
Okay.
So you are purchasing that triangle,
It's already been purchased.
or been purchased? Okay.
Both parcels are already owned by the Compton Community Fire Protection District.
Whose property is to the right then, where the field's at?
I believe that is the Gans family,
Yes.
Okay.
who are, actually Kevin was formerly a member of the Compton Community Fire Protection District Board, but they farm the property.
Yeah.
So what is the property being used as of right now? Is that some tillable right there in the middle?
In the middle, there was some tillable, yes. I do not believe it's being planted this year.
Do you need to put in, well and septic and sewer or whatever, or you know that?
I believe we do need, I do believe we need to put in septic, but are we on the Compton?
We'll be at.
Water.
Water.
Water, okay.
Can you zoom out on that? Show us where the surrounding area. Okay.
It should just be at the southwest portion of town, and the current fire station is. just
You'll
to the
get
right.
water, but you gotta put a sewer in. You'll get water from the city? Yes. You just gotta put a sewer system in.
He can,
What's
but
that?
he'll have to be sworn in.
I think it might be beneficial if you were sworn in, Wes.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to add something to this
Yeah.
conversation.
It's harmless. It doesn't hurt.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give should be the truth? I do. Okay. Then I need you to sign your name, print your name.
Mr. Burry, how do you spell your name?
B-A-R-R-Y.
And then state your name.
If someone could give him a mic to speak into, please. Okay.
No.
No, you need to state your name.
West Engel, Art Compton.
Okay.
He'll need a microphone, so if he wants to have a seat at the table.
Do you have a pointer or anything? I mean, something like a yardstick.
Give me just a sec. Let me see what I got in my office.
I'm sorry.
That's
all right.
fine.
To start with, our old station was built in 55.
Hmm.
It originally a office, 3 doors. Well, probably 30 years ago, we added an extra extension, 4 doors. But it's only, I think it's like 100 by about 40 feet. So back in the horse and buggy days, it was ample, but nowadays we've just purchased a new truck from a used truck from Sublette. Back then, there's 1 foot in back, 1 foot in front of the door. So we can't purchase a new truck because it won't fit in, either too wide, too tall, or anything else. I've been on the board for 30 plus years. We've been hoping, saving money for years, trying to do something. So in Compton, there was not a lot big enough to do any major project. There are a couple small lots, but if you put a building, nothing for septic, parking, anything else. So Mr. Guns had purchased this property, and that used to be an old farmhouse, buildings, house, sheds and stuff. That was torn down many years ago, set vacant. Granted, when he purchased the property, he just farmed it for a year or so, but not consistent. So probably at least 4 or 5 years ago, when we started talking about a building, he started with the railroad, which is in Texas, which was a total nightmare trying to fight with them, trying to purchase it and everything else. From here, he purchased a couple 100 feet further east. He had to purchase the whole length of it to get it. So, like I say,
Little button on the side.
Oh.
It won't show up on the screen.
Oh.
Sorry.
It'll work anywhere but the screen, unfortunately.
Hmm?
Oh.
Well,
That's a first.
If you see Sixth Street at the top, this to the right of Sixth Street is where the nearest, down a little bit,
Up to the right.
up, I'm sorry,
There's
up. Anyway, so this is where the fire station hopefully will go with access to 251. Also, we're making a driveway here into another door. The nearest fire hydrant is right on this corner. So we've got to go under a road over here, which is about 350 plus feet, 350, 400. So under a street, there's some ditch and some other stuff here. This is a open area, which right now has owned by Horning. He's got dirt, gravel and everything there. Of course, you got a house and stuff, but I mean, we're clear over here. So the problem was this was farm ground. This side was in the city, which we didn't realize when we purchased it. Any questions? So, like I say, we're hoping to get something variance and get something built. You're probably well aware that fire departments are not in good shape nowadays. Lee County, any county and stuff are getting by. A lot of our stuff is old and trying to get by, but we're just hoping to get something bigger built and maybe someday have an ambulance sitting there. If the county does something, we'd have a new building instead of for ambulance services in the south end of the town.
So the plot that was in the city boundary, then who did you have to buy that from? The city?
The railroad,
What, no, the north side of that you said was the city's.
It was the railroad property, but it was
Oh, okay.
annexed into the.
there's
city.
a street, the railroad was on the south. That was taken out 50 years ago.
How big is the water main that you have?
I believe 6 inch. We're hoping, the initial thought was 2 inch. I said, I'm just a farmer, but time you run a 2 inch pipe, 300 feet, it's not gonna come out. So we're hoping to get at least a 4 inch hook through there. But it's, you probably never get down there, but like I say, the fire hydrant is on the north side. There's probably a ditch this deep. There's a light pole, gas lines. On the south side, there's a ditch, some city tile going down and stuff. So it's going to be a nightmare trying to get it through. But on the highway side, we have electricity, the gas lines going right by the front of it. So we're sort of locked out on that part of it.
Do you have to get warning signs? You said you're going to use 251 for an entrance exit. Does the state need to put warning lights and things on then?
There will have to be
For the
some.
fire
signage.
department,
Okay.
Yes, for any large vehicle coming in or out of the highway, especially if what's going to be there.
And it meets all the setback requirements.
Except for the north boundary, it does.
because it's right on the lot line. So it doesn't meet the setback requirements, but they own both pieces of property.
Right. So
So they're asking for a variance
for that.
for that.
Well, if it was one piece parcel, you wouldn't need the variance, yeah.
Right.
Precisely.
So from a
Why don't-
county
Or-
perspective, that's typically how we handle these situations. If they own both lots, we combine them. Unfortunately, we ran into this taxing district issue and there is no way around that. So this is our only option. But given
What
that
do
they
you mean
are,
tax-
I'm sorry?
What do you mean by that?
So the parcel to the north is in a different taxing district than the parcel to the south. And so parcels that are adjacent but in different taxing districts cannot be combined.
As one parcel?
Correct.
One's in the city and one's in the county.
Technically, they're both under county jurisdiction, but the tax, yes, for taxing purposes.
Now, is that plot buildable as far as all spec stimulation, soil and water and any of that type of things?
Yes. So they're
That we're getting the water test and stuff now.
they're currently going through the building permit process. So we're working through that. I don't see any,
Problems.
yeah.
And the taxing districts being different is even more kind of ridiculous in this case because the fire protection district doesn't
Got
pay
to pay
taxes.
taxes, that's
Right.
right.
So Compton's not losing.
Yeah, that's the next question I was going to ask. I didn't.
Yeah, because the north piece is in the city, the south piece is in the county.
So.
Why don't you just, so they won't annex in the south piece into the city?
So they're both under county jurisdiction. So the parcel to the north, if they want to build on that, they would still have to come through my office. If they want to build on the south, they have to come through my office. They don't, the Village of Compton hasn't adopted zoning regulations, and so they're under county jurisdiction.
Right.
So it's solely the taxing districts and the only, I mean, I think you have to go through like hearings, and if you take land out of one taxing district, you have to replace it with another one. So it's not a simple thing to do at all. And so for our assessment office, in order to be able to combine the parcels, they have to be in the same taxing district.
And the good news is they've got a new water tower because we had to deal with
Yes.
that
Yes.
5 years ago.
Right.
And the good thing with this is that they own both parcels. So essentially, they will be encroaching on themselves instead of an additional neighbor.
Right.
Okay. Ready for any other comment?
Anybody else want to make a comment?
Oh, Wes is speaking. I'm,
He's doing a good
I'm
job.
the other person on the board. So.
Okay. All right.
Yes. We're talking with IDOT. That's the next fund.
So I have prepared the findings of facts for you guys. There is a form in front of you. This is the same form that we followed a few months ago with our last variance petition. So it should look similar.
What's that?
They can probably be excused if we're doing this.
Oh, does he need to be here? You're
Yeah.
saying? No, you don't have to.
Just to
We'll be
follow,
feet away if you have any questions.
Oh, I know.
just to follow up, looking back in the records, the original station in 55 was around 50,000 station. Like I say, it's about 40. So now we're a million something and still counting.
Right.
So thank you.
You need to be.
Thank you.
This one. 45.
I am.
Okay. All right. The first finding of facts we need to know is the effect of the proposed use upon the character of the neighborhood.
Be changing from ag use to
On the other hand, there's already a fire department in the town, so what
Yeah.
does it change? Other than a location?
Yeah.
True. But you're changing it from what to what, Craig?
Yeah, that's why I was, what the zoning
We're
changing
changing from
to?
ag to. It's just a special use.
So in the ag district, fire departments are permitted.
Okay,
So they will not need a zoning change. They can proceed.
okay. Stays ag.
So how are we going to state that? How would you like to state that?
I just say it stays ag zoning for fire departments.
What's that?
Stays ag zoning for fire departments, but that should be probably stated.
Well, it's asking the character of the neighborhood,
Yeah.
not the zoning.
Right.
Um,
I'd say it doesn't have much effect due to there was already an established
Fire
fire
department.
station.
Yeah,
Within the area.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Do we want to wait and do them all and then just do one motion when we get done?
that's fine.
Or do we want to do them individually? We can do them individually. State your motion.
I make a motion that does not affect the neighborhood due to there is already another fire station.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any additional comments?
No.
Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The next one is the effect of the proposed use upon traffic conditions. I think on that one, the only thing has to do with, it's on Route 251.
Yeah.
I mean, it will be an effect on the traffic conditions.
Yeah, because you're gonna be taking big trucks out in the middle of,
Yeah. So how do you want to word that?
no, you're gonna word that.
That's why I
I'm
asked.
chairman, I can't
I
word
know.
that.
I tried.
We didn't need an English teacher.
What's that?
We need
I
an
can make-
English teacher on this
I
board.
can make suggestions, how's that?
There you go.
The effect of the traffic conditions will increase at certain times of needs.
Of need of fire, whatever, and they did state that there would be signage.
Traffic.
The traffic volume won't change, but if
It
somebody,
should-
if you have a fire truck pulling out in the middle of the highway because they're in a hurry,
Yeah, well, right now, the majority of the fire trucks, as you see with Main Street right there, they're still already accessing coming
The old.
west on Main Street to access.
I understand.
Not gonna change.
It's just something different than
Yeah,
what you've
it's
had.
just, right.
Okay.
Every time a vehicle goes out, it's gonna be pulling on the highway where before they could go straight north out of town with the old station and stuff. We need. How would you state that? State required signage?
Well, let's finish the first one. I
Oh,
got
okay.
traffic conditions will increase in certain timeframes. And then you want to put in,
It'll also increase because they talked about having more than one fire truck.
Well, currently it'd end up being the same amount of fire trucks required on all sitting. Route 251, it's just, you don't it'll end up being a different access.
Okay,
Like you said, a different access.
right.
Hey, guys, just a friendly reminder, you've entered into the findings of fact and the evidentiary portion of the hearing has closed, so we really should not be accepting any additional comments at this
Okay.
time.
All right.
So you're-
Good.
So traffic conditions will increase in certain timeframes. And what did you want to say about the signs, Craig? Is that
State
gonna be on-
required
is that-
emergency signage or warnings have to be posted.
At least signage that there's a fire department there, beware.
Extra signage will be posted for fire trucks aware in public.
So read what you have.
And I'll make a motion, traffic conditions will increase in certain timeframes, and extra signage will be posted for fire trucks awareness and for the public.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The next finding of fact is the effect of the proposed use upon the public utilities facilities.
Just an extra water from the city will be used.
Same amount as before though.
Is it?
Well, because the other one was in the city,
All right.
so. And the
Electricity is all, but.
electricity might be a little bit more just because it's a bigger building.
Larger building.
A little more usage of gas for heat. But not a substantial amount.
That's probably it on
You want to go from there?
it. Yep. I'll make the motion, may use more electricity because it's a bigger building and more gas for heating.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The next one's an easy one. The effect of the proposed use on public health, public safety, and or general welfare.
Could be somewhat improved response time for fires.
The first responders should be able to be there rather quickly
Right,
due to their location.
right.
Anything else?
Read it one more time.
First responders should be able to be there quickly due to their new location.
We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The next one is the effects of the proposed use upon the surrounding properties. I think,
Shouldn't change since there was already a fire station in the community. This will
well,
be a newer
and
one.
and he made the mention that they went down Main Street, which is right across the street from this. So if the fire trucks went down Main Street
Well, they won't be bothering people.
They aren't going to be bothering anybody that, any differently than what they were before.
3 sides of the property are ag or farmland.
What's that?
3 sides of the property are
Oh, okay. So there's no immediate neighbors,
farm.
and now there'll be less traffic through town.
Yeah.
Now they're on the outskirts of town.
So I have, there is no immediate neighbors to bother now, and they will not have to go through town.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Effects of the proposed use upon environmental concerns.
The facility will have a new septic system.
Is that an environmental concern?
Yeah.
Okay. You say so.
If the ground leaches pollutants.
I guess we can't ask them, how do they wash their trucks and everything? It's not in the city to go to a storm sewer. Where's all that going?
We don't know because they haven't got a building permit yet.
Well, you know, it's an environmental concern is fire trucks, they all get washed all the time.
Right.
So I
where's it
imagine
going?
the sewer septic system is gonna have to be rated for taking that water.
More than a 3-bedroom house. And they got, how many acres there?
2.25.
We should have plenty of room for drain field,
Field.
Yeah.
but that's up to the building permit. You just put down, we'll have a new septic system. Is that what you're saying?
Should handle everything they need.
All right, I make the motion. A new septic system will be installed to handle all waste and extra water for cleaning trucks.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Does requiring the petitioner to comply with the required 15-foot setback impose difficulties or particular hardships upon the petitioner? I would say,
No, since they own the adjacent properties.
what's that?
I'd say no, since they own the adjacent properties or property.
Correct.
And that what we're up against here is the setbacks due to the tax body.
However, it says, does requiring the petitioner to comply with the required 15-foot setback impose difficulties or particular hardship on the petitioner.
Yeah,
We're not making them comply with that. We're taking it away.
So what this is asking though is in the instance, we're considering why we would give them a variance. So as of right now, if we were to require them to comply with that 15-foot setback, how would that impact their proposal? So at this point, they've shared testimony that they need that extra space in order to be able to house their facility. So if the county were to say, no, you have to comply with the setbacks of this parcel, it's not going to be effective. They're not going to be able to proceed. So that's why we're considering this variance at this time so that we can make this doable. I don't know if that made it clearer or more muddy, sorry.
would pose difficulties if we required him the 15-foot setback.
So it does require. Required setback would,
Impose difficulties.
yes.
So its answer is
That's where,
yes.
that's where I was getting at was, your answer was no, my answer was yes.
In one way or another, I understand what you're saying.
Okay,
So the answer is yes to the question,
okay.
right?
Is that a motion?
Through each one of these? Yes, it is. A motion.
Second.
For number
Yeah.
7 is yes.
We have a motion and a second for the word yes. And is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The next part is granting the requested variation in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance. And I would say yes to that also.
I agree. I'll make the motion. The answer would be yes to number 8.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The ninth one is, will the granting of such a variance merely serve as a convenience to the petitioner? No.
More
it's-
than a convenience,
It's,
necessity almost.
what's that?
It's almost a necessity for what they want
Yes.
to do. So the answer would be no, it's a necessity.
There you go.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. The next one, is there a demonstrable hardship so great as to warrant a variation?
Yes. They won't be able to build their building without it.
Right.
So the motion is yes, they will not be able to build the building without it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, motion carries.
So for the next one, I just realized in looking at this, this was specific to the last variance hearing we had. The hardship that they were claiming was exceptional topographic conditions.
Right.
For this petition, the hardship is the lot being irregularly shaped. So is the lot being irregularly shaped? Does that result in a peculiar or exceptional practical difficulties or particular hardships? If you could consider the shape of the lot as opposed to the
Correct.
exceptional topographic conditions.
Get that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I wasn't providing the answer. I was just trying to give you something to consider.
Okay.
Makes sense. So are the exceptional lot being irregular conditions result in a particular? So the answer would be yes, my motion.
Say that again. The lot being a,
Yes, the lot being irregular shaped has made particular hardships.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Will the granting of the requested variation cause substantial detriment to the public good?
No.
No, I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Last one is, will the granting of the requested variation substantially impair the general purposes and intent of the comprehensive plan as established by regulations and provisions contained in the Lee County zoning ordinance?
No,
Yeah.
Okay,
Part of the, is just, a comprehensive plan is to not change the zoning, but do any building next to a city already, not doing spot zoning, so this wouldn't be going against the comprehensive plan from that angle either.
okay. So the motion is, number 13 is no.
No.
we have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. The next thing is a recommendation to the full county board to approve or deny.
I move we approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Your petition has been granted by this board. Will go before the full county board.
I do need you to consider one condition as a part of that.
Okay.
I need you to specify how close they can go to the property line. So do they have to set back at all? Do you want 1 foot? Do you want no feet? Something to clarify how close they can go. Just for my office to be able to.
Which property?
So they're going to be on the north or in the south property. So we're looking at that northern
Northern.
property line of the south parcel.
I mean, they're building right on the property line, correct?
That is what their plan is. So that's what I need you guys to make a condition that that is allowed. And then the
Okay.
county board would have to approve that.
And how far is it from the city county line to the right of way of the street, Main Street?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, from the blue line up to the
To
Main
the
Street.
street. I believe They said that property was 50 feet wide.
That's what I-
It's on the
Looking at
map.
the diagram.
What's that?
There,
56 feet wide?
66.
Don't tell me, just show me.
It's,
You're gonna get in trouble there.
oh, up in the corner.
66 feet, okay. All right.
From where to where on the GIS that you just did
So
that?
The city property, 66.
So that little
66
red
feet.
number
There it is.
There it is.
indicates.
Well, I'm looking at it on this side, it could be 99.
I knew.
Okay. So
So this here is 66. Yeah, it says, actually it says right here. on your-
I think we should,
66.02.
I think we could say that we accept what they wanted to go to the lot line with the building, and that still leaves the 66
6
foot
feet.
setback from the street.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the
Is that,
setbacks are 15 feet. if they want. Still got plenty of cushion.
yes. From the roadway, it would be a little bit more, typically anywhere between 50 and 75 feet, because we'd be going off of, oh, no, yes, yes, he's correct.
It's what?
He is correct,
It's
50 feet
Okay,
Actual.
from the road.
okay.
Is that in the form of a motion then?
Bruce can't do that.
I can't do that, he asked.
I so move that motion,
Thank you.
What is the motion?
that we let them build on the lot line since it will be 50 feet from the right of way of the street.
It'll still be more than 50 feet. from
Well,
the right of
right.
the street.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to write this down or?
I can write this down.
Okay, great, thank you.
Huh.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for a condition. And is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Now, when will it go before the full county board?
Mm. Jonathan, do you have the 22nd? County board?
The county board meeting on Tuesday?
Thursday, it's like this. Oh, perfect, thank you. May 22nd, 6:00 PM.
Okay.
Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Oh,
They need your.
Okay.
And being asked of the Compton Party Permit Board and the Compton Party Permit, I'd like to thank you for helping us through a touchy situation. Thank you.
It's West Englehart?
yeah.
Howland, thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, Good luck.
Have a nice, thank you.
Go ahead and
How we doing, guys?
have a seat at the table.
Come and sit down.
How you doing, Bruce?
I'm doing fine. Now, watch this. Alice, are you listening?
I'm listening.
So our first petition for the evening is petition number 25-P-1641 by
O'clock.
by Clay and Elizabeth Partington as owners of certain real property identified as PIN number 18-08-07-151-002 and commonly known as 601 Rock Island Road, Dixon, Illinois, and South Dixon Township filed a petition for a special use with the Lee County Zoning Office requesting a special use permit for the purpose of constructing and operating a mini warehouse storage units. The parcel is currently zoned I-1, Planned Industrial District, and is approximately 2.22 acres in size.
Just real quick, notification requirements for this petition have been met by certified mail-in publication. Signs were also posted at the property. This is, like you said, the property is zoned I-1, and under our code, a special use is required in the I-1 district for this use.
Okay. First order of business, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give should be the truth?
I do.
Okay. Now, I need you to sign your name, print your name, and state your name.
Clay R. Partington.
All right.
Jonathan is pulling it up here on the screen for reference.
You own everything and all that?
I don't own the house.
I didn't think so.
Somebody from the county had contacted her office and said all that junk was mine, but it's not. I've spent a lot of money cleaning it up. So all that land's cleared, just brush piles now.
This is typically this parcel.
Yeah.
Pictures are 3 years old.
So the right side of the screen is mine? And the top left is mine? So where that house is, if I could buy it, I would, but that's the junkyard now, so. Somebody had thought that was mine. Yeah, that's what their concern was. You know, if I was gonna have my property look like that.
So what you're interested in zoning is the upper
Upper
northwest corner?
Correct. I've run a business out of that. I got all my shop stuff there. And that's all been cleaned up. So when I bought it, there was junk where I plan to build the storage unit. There's a lot of junk just dumped in the trees. So I had somebody come out and clean all that out of there, cleaned all the trees out. And then I cleaned up all around the building too.
How long you own the property then?
2 years. I think March or May, 2 years ago. Can't remember.
So tell us what your plan is.
Well, if it's okay, this is Rock Island Road. This would be 30 units here. And then once those are done, 30 units. Those would all be gated off. You'd have lighting. And then all these circles would be security cameras. And then it'd be an electronic coded gate to get in. So if you're looking at it, you'd be looking at it like this, correct?
That's north.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's Rock Island Road. That's back.
yeah. But you're gonna come in down here at the south end.
Correct, at that entrance, then you
Yep.
turn left right into the parcel there.
Do you think someday you'll build something on this other?
It's
Lot.
possible one more, but then I'd probably have to put a retention pond in there,
Oh, okay.
so. Because this would be too much solid surface.
But your other building is over here.
My other building, correct,
Back here.
well, it's right here,
Okay.
yep,
Yeah, got
Okay.
that lane,
it'd be almost, yeah.
the end of the lane.
This would be 60 right here, so a total would probably be about 90,
30 and 30 on
How
those
big
two
are
buildings.
units?
yeah. 150 by 30. How big is the building?
No, the units.
Oh, the units? So they're gonna vary. So if somebody wants a 10 by 30, 10 by 15, there might be some 10 by 15s and maybe some 10-foot units, 10 by 10s. So I'll vary them.
So is any of those big enough to like store boats or not?
Correct.
Okay.
That's why I'd make some of them longer so that, somebody say passes away or something, they need to store a car. Or something. Some will be able to hold a car, boat trailer. Yep. And then I'll have some smaller units. So that'll shrink some of these down. Or if they could have the whole 30-foot, I'll have them removable. So if somebody needs a 30-footer, I can take the panel.
Is there very many other storage units in that area, Dixon?
Yep.
I mean,
Yes.
Yep.
yeah,
So there's one right around the way that's an older facility. And then there's one right by the train tracks, more towards town. That would be northeast and then straight north. Well, they're both kind of northeast. If you take Rock Island Road into town, there's that old auctioneer has those old ones.
Right.
And then if you go pretty much east, there's one down by the train tracks, which
So
I used to
there's-
rent from.
about two
Yep,
in that.
yep. And that's a newer one. But these won't be like the little kits. This is gonna be framed, be rib steel. It'll blend in with the land a little bit, so they're not gonna be like bright red or bright orange. You know what I mean?
Just gonna ask.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it a color that, probably brown, because I just bought all the steel to reskin that. And I bought brown and black, so.
Now, you talked about how much of this is going to be concrete and how much is gravel of that whole area.
It'll be just the building,
Okay,
yeah.
so some of the water can't soak into the gravel.
No, it's gonna be a hard surface.
Oh, black.
So I'm
rubber,
gonna try and chip and seal it if I can, if
Okay.
that's allowed. That way it's a hard surface, basically like our subdivision.
And the zoning right now is what?
Yeah.
Yes. Zoned I1.
So is there any industrial close to him?
Nothing.
The quarry is adjacent.
Yeah.
To him?
A little more.
Okay.
And then, of course, like you said, I keep going on Rock Island Road, that'll take you right into this.
But Bloody Gulch.
So my question is this piece 2.2 acres? Then this one must be about 5
Correct.
behind.
I think it's like 5.
Okay.
Who owns the property on the south side of
I don't know.
the Kempers or you used to?
No, it's
This south,
south of Bloody Gulch,
Yeah.
Richard Hummel.
Oh,
oh yeah, Hummels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rich lives right.
Yeah, Richard, is that Rick? No. That's,
The more
Wagner's
colored
house.
one.
That's Wagner's house there, Mikey Wagner, and then just further would be Richard.
Mhm.
okay. The buildings to the north of your property, then, is that barn or
That's
shed?
warehouses for, the quarry.
Yeah, no residences at all.
No.
Mhm.
No.
And then I don't know who lives in the house that butts up to my property. I think he's a mechanic or something, but there's a lot of stuff there.
Oh, the guy on the corner?
Amy's Ford.
Is that who it is?
What now?
All right.
No further questions, this gentleman here.
Okay.
You gotta swear him in. Hold on.
I'm gonna have you speak into him.
I've got questions about access into it. You know, it's, if I recall right, it's up a pretty good slope. So are you gonna pave the driveway going up so that there isn't additional runoff?
Pave the driveway?
Right, well, how are you gonna, right now, it's a gravel driveway, if I remember right.
Yeah,
So every time it rains hard, you get gravel washing down towards the road. So now you're gonna put increased traffic on that access point. So I just wanted to make sure that we're not gonna have problems on that road every time we get a heavy rain if it's all gravel. Especially since you'll be extending the driveway up that hill quite a bit.
yeah, I mentioned this is all gonna be solid surface.
So you're gonna
Just like
tar and
the-
chip it?
Part, yep.
Yeah, okay. That's, yeah, that, because you're gonna increase traffic, so I could see increased use of the driveway, and I just don't want a hazard out there right now. You know, when it rains out there, a lot of times the water runs down that driveway and across the road and then cuts the shoulder on the other side of the road through there.
Now, you're talking the driveway, right?
Right.
You're talking the parking lots. You're talking two different things.
Right.
He's asking, are you tar and chipping the lane?
This right here,
Yeah.
this'll get it here. But, I mean, in the 2 years I've owned it, I've never noticed gravel over the road, but
I didn't say gravel, I said the water washes across the road and then across, so that's my concern. I didn't want now with more traffic, additional gravel going up that way, I didn't want all that to wash out onto.
I think, yeah, I mean,
You see
I
what I'm
agree.
saying?
I don't want a hazard. I'm just saying, I guess what I'm not sure what you mean, but water coming over the road, I think, obviously this will be crowned a little bit, but
Right.
I would think
And
a hard surface would hold more water than gravel would. I think more water would come off with a harder surface
Well, it could, yes.
than a gravel surface.
Right, but I just, I want to make sure you're not going to leave it gravel. You know, with all that increased traffic that you're going to have, the potential, if it's just gravel, it's going to wash down.
I don't know how much increase you're gonna get.
What's that, where am I? I'm around the corner about a quarter mile off Atkinson Road. Well, I drive it a lot.
Yeah.
Could I have you state your name for the court reporter, please?
Kevin Marchek.
Thank you.
So yeah, so if you look south there, there's another curve, you know, that goes around there. And it's got a lot of traffic on that right now. Even
Oh,
though
yeah, I
it's
live right by
posted-
there. I know you got commuters from Rock Falls and Sterling on there.
Exactly.
every day. I don't think there's gonna be much of an increase of traffic with rental units, but
No, but there'll be some, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's gonna be minuscule.
Right. I just wanted to make sure the access point was safe. That's the thing, you know, that we're not gonna see an increase in potential problems there. Because even though it's posted 45, yeah, nobody drives 45 through there. It's always 55 or better. That was my concern, how many units you're putting out. Yep.
We have any other questions? Do we go to
Any of the
findings,
facts, yeah.
findings of fact?
As a reminder, we're now closing the evidentiary portion of the hearing, and you'll go into findings, and so no additional comments can be received at this time.
Okay. All right,
You can be excused.
what's that?
You don't have to sit here if you don't want to. You can be excused, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can be excused if you'd
We
like.
can't ask any more questions.
You don't have to sit here and look at us.
Thanks, guys.
And we don't want him sitting there giving us dirty looks while we're making these findings of facts. either.
Right.
Okay. The first finding of fact is the effect of the proposed use upon the character of the neighborhood.
Well, it's adjacent to a quarry,
It's
So it's
all
not-
industrial.
Yeah, and it's on. Oh, what's your motion, Craig?
Very little change in the neighborhood.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, motion carries. The effect of the proposed use upon traffic conditions. Well, let's see. I would say the quarry creates more traffic conditions than what this will by far.
Small volume.
Yes.
Yeah. 'Cause most people would put stuff in and don't take it out.
And then they forget they put it there.
So how do you want to word that, Craig? Your motion?
Small volume of traffic increase.
I second.
Low volume of
Low.
traffic.
Small
Is that
small volume of traffic.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. The effect on proposed use upon public utility facilities.
It's gonna have electricity there.
It's all basically lighting, so it's not
Yeah,
much,
just add electricity for lighting.
yeah, much use.
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The next one is the effect of the proposed use upon public health, public safety, or general welfare.
I don't think it really affects any of the public health, safety, or welfare.
Well, if
Unless it's for traffic.
you stash your stuff someplace else, you don't have it sitting around your house to trip over.
I don't think that's what they mean.
You don't want to write that down?
I don't think that's where they're going with this. no.
Okay.
I don't think it changes any of the
Yeah,
health, safety, or welfare.
second. Could say because it's an isolated area,
What's that?
because it's an isolated area.
It is an isolated area, yes.
He seconded.
Hmm?
He seconded.
Seconded it. All right. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on that one? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The next one is the effects of the proposed use upon surrounding properties.
I mean, there is a house next to it, so there could be a fact that they'd have to see more traffic behind them.
Not gonna be detrimental.
What's that?
It's not gonna be detrimental eyesore or anything like that to have a building like that.
No.
And the lot's gonna be kept clean.
So what is your motion?
Um, Probably improved upkeep of that property.
Just asking about the surrounding property.
Yeah.
What I was saying, affecting the residents there. Effects for them would be a little more traffic. But yet he cleaned it up and it looks better. I'll make a motion that there will be more traffic for the surrounding properties, but yet property
A nicer looking.
is
neighbor-
improved.
Yeah.
Huh?
Nicer looking neighborhood.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The next part is the effects of the proposed use upon environmental concerns.
I don't see how it's affecting the environmental.
No,
Part of
no
it, yeah.
water usage.
No.
No runoff or anything.
So he's saying that not affecting any environmental concern. I'll make a motion that don't see any environmental concerns affected.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. That we don't see any environmental concerns. Any discussion further? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Do we want to put any potential conditions on this?
We gotta approve it or deny it first.
What's that?
We approving it or denying it first?
Well, do we want to put any? We can approve it or deny it to start with.
I mean,
You have,
Well,
a
if-
do you have a, want to make a motion to approve or deny?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. It
So-
is the recommendation of the full county board is to approve this petition. Now, does anybody want to put any conditions on it?
We haven't discussed any outside storage. Is that a condition we put on these or? There's a lot of them have some outside storage.
Let me look up something here real quick.
I mean, as a condition to make sure that it is a hard surfaced area.
Well,
Or is that,
outside storage would have more environmental concerns. Because if it's outside storage and campers or anything like that, then you always have the potential for leakage.
So according to our code, inventory or material storage outdoor in the I-1 district would require a special use. So at this time, it would not be allowed. He would have to
Come
petition
back
for
and
that.
Talk to us again.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's what we needed to know. So do we have anything else?
so, I mean, this is a special use permit.
Essentially, he would be getting two separate special use permits. This special use permit allows him to operate the mini warehouse. The other one would allow him to have outside storage accessory to his business.
Okay.
And that way, so behind that, if we did it as one permit and something came up, I mean, we could essentially shut down his whole operation, where if it's just an issue with outdoor storage, we could take away the outdoor storage permit and he would still be able to operate the business. So we do try to keep them separate for that purpose.
Okay. So for a condition, a hard surfaced parking lot, or has nothing to do with us, or not a condition?
I don't know what the actual ordinance says about building.
So for building, he will have to adhere to the commercial requirements. Stormwater management plan will be required by the county engineer. Any special access permits that are needed. That being, I would have to look up who has jurisdiction over the Rock Island Road at that point, but that would be up to that road commissioner to oversee that portion.
Good.
Don't know if that answered it.
It doesn't say anything about what type of surface.
No. No. There are parking standards, but it doesn't say what type of material the lot would have to be.
Good. So. Right. Your motion has been passed by this board. Will go before the full county board on
May 22nd at 6 PM.
May 22nd.
So you guys know.
Yeah.
So you know, I wouldn't have any outdoor storage, because I wouldn't want. to go on. So I want everything covered and.
You don't have any intent of outside storage at this point. So,
To go that route someday, go back and.
But it's too, not enough people around. I think somebody would have to be going.
But you're gonna have a fence, right?
But I mean.
Right.
But yeah.
Thank you.
It's, okay, that's what I thought. So it's the county. May 22nd, and we don't. Which time we won't have an opportunity.
Done? Have to adjourn anything? or-
well, we have to make our own adjournment or recess until after the county board meeting. Okay, with that, we will recess our meeting until after the next county board meeting
On May 22nd, it's.
on May 22nd.
6 p.m.
6 p.m. We need a motion to recess.
I move that we recess.
I'll
Okay, we have
second.
a motion. Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor, stand up and leave.
We haven't done that one.
What's that?